All right, good evening. Welcome once again to another edition of Head to Head Conversations on Matters That Matter. My name is Mr. Purpose International, the founder of Africa's premier and leading Purpose Discovery Academy. We started that journey in 2011 and we have, to the glory of God, impacted well over 40,000 individuals. And this head-to-head series is dedicated to bringing on the show individuals who found their purpose and began to deploy their talents and their gifts in the pursuit of that purpose, in fulfilling the dream that God wired into their hearts as a desire, either through a service, either through an invention, either through a business, whatever their discovery is, actually points towards a unique direction. And tonight, I'm being joined by an ace comedian that I met in the year 2009. Just hold on a bit. I'll read your profile, then I'll bring you in. So I met him in 2009, and when we met, he looked very ordinary, but I tell you, he's an extraordinary human being. First of all, before being an extraordinary comedian, he's a stand-up comedian, professional master of ceremony, and he infuses very practical wisdom into his humor. And that's why tonight we're talking about comedy as a remedy to social malady. Without any waste of time, I would quickly bring him in. I see that he's ready to come in to the live conversation. So without further ado, I'm just going to, so that we can start the conversation. But please, wherever you are joining us from tonight, kindly where your location is, wherever you are joining us from tonight. Let us know your location, and if you have questions for our guests tonight. So, ladies and gentlemen, wherever you are, if your hands are not too busy, please can you put your hands together for MC Chimaraph. Whoa! So this is the very first edition of Head to Head in the month of May, and we are excited to have this outstandingly gifted stand-up comedian, master of ceremony, and he will tell us more about the things he does Monday to Friday that keeps him busy. I believe he's very witty, he's very creative, he's a digital content creator as well. So, before we talk about what we have to say today, can you remember the very first day we met?
Yes,
it's still very crystal clear.
I still have a clear mental picture of that day. I'm even thinking I remember what I wore that day.
Well, it's very possible. It's very possible. Yeah. So, for a lot of people who don't know you, can you please just introduce yourself so that we just get right into it?
All right. My name is Chimaraph. I'm an excellent master of ceremony, a stand-up comedian, a digital creator, a producer. In one word, I'm an entertainment entrepreneur. In one word.
Okay, I love that. I love that fusion. Entertainment entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And it's very important to be able to define who you are and what you stand for early enough in life. And you have been very consistent in the last 14 years. We met exactly 14 years ago, and it was in the month of April. That's why I really wanted us to we tried to have this last month, and for the sake of the network, but this is even a beautiful month to have it, because at the Purpose School, we're having Talent to Business Virtual Boot Camp this month.
Okay.
The information is on the screen. May 25th is actually May 25th to May 27th, and the early bird discount is still ongoing. It's 35,000 if you are in Nigeria, and $50 if you are outside the shores of this country. But 25,000 naira is the early bird discount, or you pay $40 if you are outside the shores of Nigeria. And you are a talented man that's been able to turn your talent to business, you know. But the first question I want to ask tonight is your educational background. I don't think we have ever discussed that because there's never been a need. So, by the way, has anybody you have worked for, any of your clients, have they ever asked you about your certificates from school? What was your qualifications? Is that what they have asked you?
Well, I've not had anybody ask me that.
Okay.
Maybe somebody would ask me in the future, but nobody has asked me that. I think there's no reason to ask.
Because you have been trading purely on the platform of your talent, which you have been able to transform into value-adding business. Okay, but let's just get to know your educational background. Do you think what you studied in school prepared you for what you are doing today in life? Or are you part of that? There's a multitude of people who studied something totally different from what their purpose and what their talent ought to have required them to study if they discovered early. So tell us about your early years in secondary school.
Okay, well, for me, I think I'm one of those people that I quickly knew exactly what I wanted to do. In fact, from my early days of maybe primary 5, I used to tell my friends that I wanted to be a newscaster. All right. The basic idea was that I loved to talk. So I knew I was going to be talking. So every time I saw a newscaster on TV, I could see somebody living my future. All right. And then even while I was saying I wanted to be a newscaster, if I hear anybody say something funny, it gets my attention. You know, I know that this is something I can, you know, I remember back in secondary school, those days we used to buy joke books, you know, and then we'd go out and start telling all of those jokes in school, you know. I always like to make up stories that would be funny to people. So I think there was a talent that was trying to find expression. And back then in secondary school, we had this thing that we called, it was called wording, where, you know, you and somebody will stand and you guys will be telling yourself, giving yourself back to back. And I used to be like a champion.
Like table tennis.
Yeah.
Ping pong.
You know? And then you have people cheering you up. And I used to be like a champion back then in secondary school. So I always knew I wanted to do talking business. You know, I always knew I wanted to do talking business. So by the time I was getting into the university, I did a diploma course in theater arts from the University of Port Harcourt. So that basically, that it really didn't add anything, sincerely, I must tell you. It really didn't add anything. But basically, I just wanted to do something. And so I did theater arts, diploma in theater arts from the University of Port Harcourt. So I can't really remember that preparing me because I didn't start out stand-up comedy in school. You know, it was after school.
Okay.
When I wanted to start in school, but the truth was that I was in a fellowship that didn't believe in stand-up comedy. You know, I'm not going to mention the fellowship's name, but they didn't believe in stand-up comedy. So I felt that, this wasn't the career path I should choose. So what happened was I had to just move on. And then after school, I now joined another church that showed me that you can actually trade with this talent. So it was from that point that I said that, okay, something I would like to try out. And there was only one person I knew that was doing it, that I had some level of connection with. Not with the person directly, but with the person's sister. It was Julius the Genius Agu. All right, so
Julius the Genius Agu.
Yeah.
Wow. So that's one of the dons of comedy in Nigeria now.
One of the pioneers of stand-up comedy in Nigeria. So I had to talk to the sister, who is my own sister's friend. You know, so she told me that, okay, you know what, don't worry, I'll talk to him. And then you come to Lagos and see how you guys can connect. So he spoke to the sister that, that Chima wants to come and work with you. So I came. He's a big bros. He knows me as one little boy those days, you know. So I came to his office, and then he saw me. Was like, okay, that's nice. I can be working with them in the office. So I started working with them as an errand boy in the office.
Wow.
So the whole Lagos. If he was having a show, I'm the guy who was doing ticket deliveries to every part of Lagos. You know, then there
So
were
you were part of his team that was producing Crack Your Ribs back then.
Yes, I was in charge of the publicity for people that go out to share flyers. You know, I was serving basically as an errand, so just helping out in the office. And I did not have the boldness to tell him that I wanted to do stand-up comedy. And I'll tell you why. And I'll tell you why.
Why?
Because there was a guy that came to the office, you know, that was telling him he wanted to do stand-up comedy. And then another comedian came and vouched for the guy that the guy can do stand-up comedy very well. So one day, the opportunity came and Jilosago put him on the stage, and the guy fell down flat. And trust me. So when I saw that happen, I knew that I needed to first go and train myself.
Well,
because before then, it was just a raw gift I had. I'd not sharpened it, I'd not trained myself. I just knew that I could tell jokes. I had jokes that in my head that I could tell. That was telling my family member and my friends that they were finding funny. Being a professional is different from telling your friends and your family members.
Being able to crack the ribs of your family members and your friends is not enough to make you stand up in front of a mic.
No, it's not
and
enough.
Want to do it as a business.
Yeah, because your family members and friends would want to encourage you. Even when it's not funny, they'll make it look like it's funny. You know, like I always tell people that every time I see someone go for those music auditions that do very bad, and then the video
Nigerian
goes
Idol.
Yes, I usually blame their family members and their friends. Because
their friends, yeah.
Hey, bro, you can do it. You can do it.
In fact, what you just said now happened this evening. Earlier today, I was watching Nigerian Idol, this year's edition, and a guy came in and he was a total disaster. There's no similitude of the talent of music in this guy, but he had the boldness and the courage. You know, he came in and cleared his throat, and the band, Simi and the third judge, they were very impressed with his boldness. So they were like, wow, this guy is going to really give us a great performance. When he started singing, you know those cartoons where the jaw of the cartoon character drops? Their jaws literally drop. So what the band said was, he asked him, he said, did you tell your friends that you were coming to Nigerian Idols? He said, yes. He asked him another question. He said, did you sing this song before them? The guy said, yes. The band told him, let me tell you something today. You have bad friends.
This reminded me of one time I went for an audition, because so the Jilosago story I was giving you, I couldn't really tell him, so I knew I had to go and train myself. So somehow I was looking for opportunity to intern where I could learn, and then I met a comedian who said that okay, that if he has time he can, you know, put me on. But lo and behold, I kept calling the guy didn't pick my call. So it was much later, something happened, and one day I came to church, and Pastor K preached a message. I'm a member of Davis Christian Center International, the best church anywhere in the world. Yeah. So I came to church that day, and he preached a message that you should just go out and chase your dreams, that God is going to see you through. And that message was just for me. And that day I went to Jilosago's office, and something happened, and I just walked away. Because I knew that, man, I couldn't tell him this thing, and it wasn't looking. I needed to go out and go and intern, and I can't do the two at the same time. So I just had to walk away and go start a new life. So by the time I left, somehow God began to connect me. I met some other younger comedians. I will never forget the guy's name, Heavy Man. You know, he put me through and then began to take me to other shows. I began to see that, oh, there were other younger comedians like myself. So they began to give me a platform. There, I began to hone my skill, began to learn, began to improve. Of course, I had bad days, good days, But I kept getting better. And I will never forget one audition I went for. It was Stand Up Nigeria audition. And Princess was the judges. Comedian Princess was one of the judges. I remember performing, and then she gave me a wow expression. She was clapping, and oh, my jokes were very good. And then she asked me to wait. Another guy came. The guy came and stood before her with so much boldness, like that Nigerian Idol guy. So the guy told his first joke, the joke was bad. Told the second one, it was bad. Told the third one, and Princess said, stop. The guy said, I have another one. He said, please, if you've told me 3 and no one made me laugh, relax. And then Princess asked the guy, that, what else do you do apart from this thing? The guy said, I sell apple. He told the guy, I said, can I tell you the truth? The guy said, yes. He said, go and invest more in that your apple. Take my number, call me, be supplying me apple. But see, for this thing you did here today, let me tell you the truth. I don't see you having a career in this thing. So we see a lot of stuff and all of that. But see, sometimes I've seen people that they also told stuff like that, and they went back to work on themselves.
I went back to
yes, and they came back and they did very well.
Yeah. You know, so it's very important for every human being to identify their dominant talent, their dominant gift, and then find the necessary platforms to transform that raw ability into a product or a service that will produce value. You know, back then when we met, for those who don't know, I also used to want to be a stand-up comedian, but with a different dimension to it. So that's why I created the brand name MC Solution, Motivational Comedy Solution, because back in the days, watching comedy on TV used to annoy me a lot when I see a comedian abusing people in the audience, or at a wedding, you see comedians abusing the bride and groom. These are the people that paid you to come MC their event, you know? So it annoyed me to the point that I was reading a book one day and I saw, I think it was a book by Mike Murdoch, that anything that annoys you is a pointer to what you are meant to correct. So I discovered that, okay, I could MC. So I launched into comedy with that brand name, and that's what even brought us together. You didn't know I was the one. You said you're looking for MC Solution, that you've heard of this guy. Yeah. But you see, I had a disastrous encounter with the truth. One particular event in Abuja. It was not even in Lagos.
Wow.
You know, it was in Abuja. I met a guy who, and that's why it's important to discover purpose. And today, that's why I teach purpose discovery with all my heart, because then I was in my self-discovery process, and that was just one of my abilities that I discovered. So, but this guy hyped me to the event planners in Abuja. He said, man, there's this MC, there's this comedian in Lagos, is the newest comedian in Lagos, is black. You know, he blew my trumpet. They paid for my flight tickets. I flew to Abuja with Sol E. You remember Sol E Baba?
Yeah.
I flew to Abuja with Sol E. And it just looked as if when I stepped on stage, a different person stepped on stage. It was as if that everything I had rehearsed, and I used to tell my own jokes, but everything I had rehearsed, it stayed backstage. And a different person. So the audience, they were wondering, what's going on? As it make us laugh. You know what I started doing? I started releasing motivational quotes. I was just dishing out quotes because I couldn't tell one joke, and they were now laughing at me. I refused to get off stage. I said, you know what? I'm going to use my time. I'm going to finish my time on this stage. I said, what have you achieved in your life? I was so upset. I was throwing back banters at the audience. I was like, you are laughing at me, but you don't even have the boldness to come up stage. On my trip back to Lagos, I suddenly realized that this is not for me. Comedy is not my place.
fly back to Lagos?
And what?
Did you fly when you were
What?
coming back?
Oh, yes, but they didn't pay my flight ticket back to Lagos. I had to, this is a true life story. I had to use my school fees. I was in university then. I had to go withdraw my school fees to buy my flight ticket back to Lagos. Otherwise, I would have still been trekking back. You know, and that's so. So my next question to you now is, what many people perceive comedians as unserious people, right? They just attach this sense of anything a comedian says, you don't take him seriously. But you have been able to create a persona of being a serious-minded comedian. Yes, I make people laugh, but from the time I've known you till date, I've not seen you pierce your ear, you know, have those funny hair looks, you know, dye your hair one color, wear some funny clothing, and like the way some people that I call them jesters, you know, so what has been, why is that your signature? What has helped you distinguish yourself, and why have you maintained this simple casual look? At times you just look like a banker or a businessman that that has a chain of businesses around the world, but when you open your mouth, people now get to know that, wow, this guy has a lot of content. So what helped you distinguish yourself early to maintain this personality?
Well, I would like to say that first and foremost, stand-up comedy in Nigeria has gone through a lot of phases. All right. Some years back, we used to have jesters, you know, people that dressed anyhow, funny looking, had funny names, assuming that those funny names would make people laugh. All right. So those were the days when we had names like, there were a lot of funny names at that time. I wouldn't want to mention them because they are brand names that have lived up those names. So, but from that phase, we moved to another phase. Even in the content we were telling, you know, there were the days of where people were doing yabbings. Those days that got you angry was the days of yabbing. And then from the days of yabbing, we moved into the days of comparison, where people were doing comparison joke, Wari man and Igbo man, Yoruba man and Igbo man. You know, we moved from that level and we moved to another stage. Today, people are doing reality check comedy. People are telling reality jokes. People are using humor to address social issues. People are using humor as a tool today, even for nation building. You know, so comedy has gone through a lot of phases. So for me as a stand-up comedian, I've always wanted to be someone that would be true to the act of stand-up comedy. And I believe so much in the fact that, hey, you have to keep it clean and classy. That is something that I stand for. So if it's not clean, I'm not going to tell it. If it's not clean, if it's not classy, if everybody cannot listen to the joke and be comfortable, then it's not the kind of joke I will tell. Now, the people that do vulgar jokes, I give it up to them, but you have to choose a brand. That's a brand I've chosen to keep it clean and classy. So I had that clear vision that, of course, I had my boundaries of what I could not do. You know, I remember those days when there were days when the hunger was heavy and people would tell me that, go and start club stand-up comedy. Every week you begin to club and making money. But I knew it was not my style. In fact, I tried it out, I will not lie. The day I landed in the club, my anointing for comedy left me. So I knew that there's some people you're not caught in some areas. All right, so I just had to tell myself the truth that this is not it for me. So I stayed true to my area, focused. I know that my greatest strength, I'm a very good master of ceremony, and I know how to infuse humor right when I'm emceeing events. All right, so that has really helped me to ensure that I stay true to my art. And I'm not one of those people who try to be off stage unnecessarily. All right, as a comedian,
Who like to do what?
Yeah,
I didn't get that.
Anybody who is true to the act will know that if you find somebody who is trying to be funny off stage unnecessarily, that person might not be funny on stage. Because some of the best comedians in the world, they don't try to be funny off stage because they understand that your content is priceless. Your content is your content is king to your act. So you protect it, you know. So that has helped me. I had a clear vision of the kind of I wanted to build.
Okay, so let's talk about the challenges in the early days. Clearly, one of them would have been not making enough money to sustain yourself, let alone see yourself as a profitable brand at that time. So, what were can you tell us how you overcame some of those early day challenges that you had? A comedian must look good, an MC must look good, but you also need to make good money to look good. So, how were you able to navigate those early days? And what can you just share one of your toughest experiences with us and how you overcame?
There are a lot of experiences, and I like to say "na God," but I don't like when you ask people questions and they say "na God." Baba, tell us how God did one, you know. So I like you to give us real answers to how God did it.
Oh, yes.
Yes, for me, one of the things that helped me navigate this period was I was passionate about the craft. I would not lie to you. There were days where I went hungry, and then somehow God orchestrated my steps. I had friends that could go to their place and eat. You know, you had guys that they could. And another thing that God did for me that was very powerful was God connected me with a guy called Piprans Clothing. It's a clothing brand. And we became, and then he began to make clothes for me for free, just supporting my brand. A lot of people didn't know.
Wow. Shout out to Peter Prance. Shout out to Peter Prance Clothing. Wow.
You know,
and it's one of the best now in Nigeria.
Yeah. He was making clothes for me, supporting what I was doing, and that way I was able to have clothes to cover me up for events, you know. Even when money was not, because I did a lot of free gigs. Oh, I did a lot of free gigs. And even, you know,
in fact, your name almost came to Freetown.
Gigs that, and we had a lot of free gigs where they would tell you that, don't worry, come, I'll give you honorarium. And it was those events that there's a difference between honorarium and honorarium. There's a big difference.
Yeah. Honorarium was not honorable.
No. Honorarium is derived from the word honor, which means to honor you for offering your service or your product. But honorarium is derived from an Igbo word that says, you will beg for it. We had cases where you give, and after the gig, you're waiting for the honorarium, and you have to beg for it. Say, Baba, how far? I never get to the house. Give me this thing. And then I've had cases where you go for a gig, they tell you, oh, we're going to give you honorarium. You get there. I remember one, it was on the island. I went for the event. I was done. The person shake me that, oh, man, you did very well. Everybody liked your performance. I said, thank you. And then the guy gave me an envelope, a white envelope I will never forget. A sealed white envelope. And I collected it. I touched it, so I felt it was maybe 1,000 naira note. I was thinking maybe it was 3K or 4K, so I quickly just entered the cab. Before the cab moved for like maybe 1 minute, I heard a voice tell me that check that envelope because I was hoping. So I just quickly opened it. And lo and behold, it was a foolscap sheet that they had written a full thank you note and folded it.
You know,
inside. I just had to and that was,
you don't mean it.
I'm not kidding.
They wrote you a love letter.
Thank that took his time to thank me. Dear Chimaraph of the Most High God. Your
come on.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Stories.
Wow.
Like that. It was in that period that I learned.
How did you pay the taxi man?
No, I had to go back. So he had to just quickly stop. And somehow, somewhere, I had to take public transport and, you know, we thought I had to find my way back. I will remember
that was a close shave. That was a close shave to a very embarrassing situation. I would never forget as well in my early days as a transformational, inspirational speaker. It was even my mentor, Pastor Kingsley. For those who know him, Pastor Kingsley Okonkwo, senior pastor of Davis Christian Center, founder of Love, Dating and Marriage. And by the way, let me just do a quick advert. Love, Dating and Marriage, Pastor Kingsley will be coming to Canada this month of May. So go get your tickets. They're coming to 7 cities in car.
13th of May.
Say that again.
It's starting on the 13th of May.
13th of May. So from the 13th of May,
yeah.
Pastor Kingsley and Pastor Mildred, the Love, Dating, and Marriage founders, will be in Canada in 7 cities. I know I'm not mentioning them in the particular order of their trips, but Calgary, Halifax, Winnipeg, Ontario. Just go to their page, Kingsley PST, or go to Love, Dating, and Marriage, LDM with PK on Instagram to have more details. So he asked me to go represent him at an event. I went there with my team, and to the glory of God, I tore down the place. I was the 4th speaker. And there were 4 speakers. I was the 4th speaker. And by the time the first speaker finished, I knew that, man, we were all in trouble. The guy did great. The second speaker came. The momentum went higher. You know, when it was now going from higher, highest, but I was now the 4th. The kids were already tired, but that was my main area of gifting and for the years of preparation. But I tore down the place to the glory of God. The other 3 speakers had to stand up, give me a resounding ovation. The guy that hosted the event, at the end of the event, I saw him, the way he was jumping about when we were about to leave, because I expected that at least he will have honorarium for my mentor. I was there just representing my mentor, my brother. Can you still hear me? Chimaraph, can you still hear me? Okay, I think there's a network glitch from Chimaraph's end. But like I was saying, okay, let me just try and invite Chimaraph back in, and I will continue that story once he's in. Let's try and get Chimaraph to get back in. So we're just waiting for Chimaraph to get back in the live. We are discussing comedy as a remedy to social maladies. Comedy as a remedy to social malady. Chimaraph, are you there? Chimaraph, please could you send me a request so that I can accept it? I'm trying to okay, we're still waiting for the network at his end. He's unable to join at the moment. So like I was saying, I was at this event, and as I was about to leave, the host did something very dishonoring. And this is something we must speak about to young people of today. If you are organizing an event and you're bringing resource people, you have to plan for their honorarium. You have to appreciate the gifts of men, because men are gifts. Whatever you do not appreciate, you cannot attract. Any grace you do not appreciate, you cannot attract such graces to yourself. So you must learn how to honor people for the gifts that they carry. You must learn how to sow the seed of honor into people that come to bless you. So while we are still waiting for Chimaraph, if you can hear me, just let me know so that we can quickly just round off tonight. Okay, so Chimaraph, I've sent you another request. I've sent you another request. Please let me know if you are able to join. So if you're just joining us, this is head-to-head with Mr. Purpose, conversations on matter that matter. I've been discussing on comedy as a remedy to social malady with the extraordinary, excellent master of ceremony, Chimaraph. Those are his real names, Chimaraph, just coined together as one word, Chimaraph. And at the end of this month, towards the end of this month, you have an opportunity to transform your talent into business. If you register between now and the 10th of May, you get a 10,000 naira discount from the original fee. Yeah, for 3 days, we'll be taking you through a journey that will move you from just being talented to having a real profitable business. I'm going to show you the 8 processes or the 8 cycle, what is called talent, the cycle of talent, which requires 8 major steps. The first step is talent discovery. You must discover which particular talent is the most suitable for you to fulfill your purpose. Your talent must be, I won't mention that today. Register for talent to business, and then we'll talk about the laws of negotiation. We're also going to talk about how to brand your talent correctly, because one of the reasons why a lot of talented people are lost in the marketplace is because of wrong branding. Something as simple as your brand name, your identity can single you out or hide you forever in a market. Okay? And then you must understand the law of perception. We're also going to talk about how to position your talent as a solution. People don't pay you because you are talented. People pay you because you are solving their problems. We're going to talk about how to position your talent as a solution. All right, Chimaraph is back. Chimaraph is back. All right, welcome back. Welcome back. So, like I was saying, this guy, he was so unprepared. I was there on the platform of my mentor, and when we were about to leave, he squeezed his hand into his pocket, and he wanted to squeeze the notes into my hand. And I said, "What's that for?" He said, "That's the honor. That's what they have." I said, then I had to tell him to his face. I said, "Do it honorably. It's not about the amount." I said, "Do it honorably and give it to my assistant. I'm not going to touch that." And I told him, I said, "Am I a police officer? Am I a Nigerian police officer? Why are you trying to discredit your brand?" And if you see the packaging, if you see how they wrote the letter, the packaging was huge. So when and you see, I had made up my mind from home that whatever they gave me as honorarium, I'll go and sow it to my mentor as a seed, you know. So despite the amount and despite the way it was packaged, so they eventually got an envelope. I went straight to my mentor. He was playing lawn tennis that day, and I said, "Sir, I came to sow this honorarium to you." I sold it to him. He prayed over me, because he was playing lawn tennis, he didn't check it. But guess what? On Sunday, he called me away from the crowd and whispered into my ears, "No, is it that they didn't give you anything from where you went to speak?" I said, "That was all they gave." I said, "That was all." It was 2,000 naira. 2,000. Very, very, very dishonoring. It was 2,000 naira. when I told him that was all, I had made up my mind to sow all, and that was all. He held my hand specially and released a powerful word of blessing into my life, and I was so embarrassed. I was so embarrassed. So while you were offline, I was saying to young people that you must learn to honor people's gifts. You must learn to show that you value people who have paid the price, who have paid the dues to get to where they are. So now let's talk about what we're really talking about tonight.
Yep.
So comedy as a remedy to social malady. You know, there are so many social vices that we have today in town, but which would you say comedians, or you as a comedian, you have positioned your brand to speak as a voice of solution? Because laughter can be a good tool to pass a very serious message in a way that it will be received, and the audience or the people will know that, okay, I have to correct this in my own behavior. So first of all, do you see comedy as a tool, as a remedy to social malady? Then
Yeah.
secondly, what particular social vice do you think comedy is most suitable to address? And which one are you addressing? Have you been addressing with your brand?
Um, comedy is of course everybody. Okay, I wouldn't say everybody knows. Comedy is a great tool that you can use to address societal issues. I've mentioned that before, because laughter has a way of getting away with serious messages. You can pass a serious message with laughter, and then the person will take it and not be offended. For me as a comedian, I started creating content, maybe, if I can remember, maybe way back from 7 years ago, but I had a break, and then it was 2 years ago that I took it serious again. And with the contents I create, for every content I make, I try to look at a social vice that I can address. Okay, let me give you an example. It's becoming a norm for people to treat ladies anyhow in comedy skits, whether in music videos, and you just see that people do videos and use ladies as tools for just paint them as sex tools and all of that. I'm very particular about, I was still talking to somebody about it today, that people have told me several stories that had to do with skits that would paint ladies in that way, and I would say, no, I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't do something that my child will see, and then my child will not be proud of me, that, oh, it's my dad that did this. For some other people, fine. There are people that some stuff to work for, but you must know what you stand for.
Yeah.
I'm very particular about that. And then secondly, I'm also very particular about excellence. I try to deal with that in my MC business, in my content creation, in the jokes that I tell. I try to put that excellence as a tool. In fact, there was a time I wanted to start a show that was trying to do, I had called it Humotivation. It was a fusion of humor and motivation. All right. And I wanted to use it as a tool to encourage people for nation building. Because I'm one of those people that believe that humor can be used as a tool for nation building. But somehow Nigeria happened, and in the last 3 years, many people have lost confidence and faith in Nigeria. So if you even try to say anything about Nigeria, about Nigeria being a great nation, people find it hard to receive. But we'll not give up. We'll still keep doing it. I remember I produced a skit. I produced a skit 3 years ago. I'll tell you the story of the skit, but I didn't release the skit. I wanted to use it for. It was a skit about a policeman. Some police officers on the road that saw a car and stopped the car and started asking the man for all kinds of particulars. And the man said, oh, all these things you're asking me, please, I'm in a hurry. I'm trying to take my kid to school. When I drop off my kid, I can actually come back and we can sort all of this. They said, no, you have to bring in. The policeman kept asking him, where's your particulars for this? Where's your particulars for that? The guy kept giving them. They got to a point. He had his daughter of 3 years in the car. The daughter got fed up and she was running late for school. So she had to open the door and come down and tell the daddy while he was talking to the policeman. He said, Daddy, give them 100 naira, let's go now. And the policeman shouted, say, your pikin no waiting day. You day here, they give us ordinary paper. You know, that's how much corruption has eaten so much into our system.
Yeah.
You know, now, like, for some people, oh, that's a joke. I like it, was very funny, but it's serving as a tool for even the policeman to see it and know that, man, this thing has gotten so bad.
That even a little child
knows that if you see a policeman, if he's asking you for particulars, you just give him money and go your way. You know. So I'm one of
my
those.
brother.
Yes.
You're so correct. I would let me add to what you just said. I saw this and I could not believe it, but it's just I was in the vehicle. We traveled to Delta State in February, and all through the trip, the person I was with, I won't mention his name because he's a big brand in comedy. He rolled five naira, brand new notes, rolled it, and used rubber band to wrap it. And because they were brand new notes, and that was at the time where naira was scarce, right?
Yeah.
5 naira in 20 places is 100 naira. But because it was brand new, all the police officers thought he was giving them one of those high denomination wrapped together, and just holding it, you know that it's more than one. They were just allowing us to pass without checking anything. We met over 25 police checkpoints, and each of them, it was 100 naira they got, but they were so happy. They're like, in fact, you know what? I was very embarrassed for the Nigerian police force. Now, like, what if we had kidnapped somebody and we placed the person in the boot? They didn't even bother to check, and they were highway police officers. 5 naira wrapped so I really feel your point. I really feel your point. And we want to appreciate people like you who keep creating valuable content. And we believe that very soon, the terminology we use in our generation is that you go blow, that God will expose you to a bigger audience. Because the reason why people that create clean content seem not to sell fast is because the masses want rubbish. They want junk. They enjoy all those dirty content. That's why you see 500,000 views on something very dirty, something very dehumanizing, something that a distasteful joke, appeals to many. But we believe in your brand. We believe that a due season of reward is coming for you, Chimaraph, and I make bold to say in Jesus' name. So as we round off tonight, can you just endorse? Oh, Chimaraph has gone off again. I think the network where he is not. Well, we're going to overcome the network challenge again tonight. So, like I was saying, you have to define your brand based on your life's values, based on your true identity. Chimaraph is a born-again Christian, and he has stayed true to ethical values that his faith in Christ Jesus supports. So we appreciate you, and we believe that you're an icon of light. You're a beacon of light in a very dark industry. Let me see if I can still bring him back before we round off for tonight. Okay, Chimaraph, I've sent you another invite. I hope you are able to accept it so we can round off for tonight. Okay, so do not forget Talent to Business Life Transforming Virtual Bootcamp organized by the Purpose Discovery Academy holds from Thursday, May 25th to Saturday, May 27th, 35,000 naira investment in your talent, and we can refine your talent. We're going to work with you for not just 3 days, but we're going to be working with you for 3 months. But those 3 days are going to be intensive immersion. Then we'll work with you in a closed inner group where we would give you hands-on coaching on how you can transform your talent to business. I think this is all we can take for tonight. We may not be able to bring Chimaraph back in, but Chimaraph, let me know if you are still available. If you are you can you still hear me? All right, now let me round off by saying to you that there are 5 things that your talent can do for you in this life. Number 1, your talent is a room maker. Your talent is a room maker. Your talent will make room for you no matter how crowded the market or the industry is. If it's an industry where your talent truly points to, it will make room for you. These are laws of life, they are laws of success. The gift of a man makes room for him and brings him before great men. The second thing your talent will do for you, your talent will give you a platform. A platform is not made of wood and nails. A platform is what makes your name to be recognizable. Your platform, your talent gives you a platform to transform individuals, transform systems. Your platform is the consciousness people have when your name is mentioned. Okay, Chimaraph is back. That's great. That's great. So we'll just wrap it up once he comes back in. Okay. Wow. Thank God you were able to come back. So we'll just wrap it up with this last set of questions to you. What's your advice to new comedians just coming up in the industry? What trade secret can you share with them? And then what will you advise this to go back to being a 16-year-old boy? What advice would you give yourself if you could go back to being 16 years old?
If I could go back to being a good boy, I would have started earlier. I would have started stand up, and yes, I would have started earlier, and then I would have started out with telling Julius Agu I wanted to be a comedian, being bold enough to tell him, and then that boss, I'm not a professional, train me. I want to work under you, train me. I would have given me a bigger platform to trade on, and then I think I would have learned. Yes, learning from him would have given me a bigger platform. And then also for people who want to come into stand up, there are 3 things I'm going to ask you. One, go and get your own material. Don't start material. I can tell you, we live in the age if you pay new joke to somebody makes it in less than 24 hours everywhere to go and get your own materials. Number two, get a mentor. Yes, get a mentor. And then getting a mentor, I'm not talking about someone that will be giving you gigs. There are 2 different. Someone that you to study and learn under and submit to. Don't be too quick. And then number 3, don't be too quick to hold the microphone. For the rest of your life, you're going to be holding the microphone. So take your time to study how to hold the microphone, because that would help you when you start holding the microphone. Some people held it fast, and like that guy that I told you that that died on that stage, and he was in Abuja.
Wow.
The guy did not resurrect. Today, I can't remember that guy as a comedian today.
Wow. Wow. Like I usually say to people, if you ignore your ignorance in private, your ignorance will not ignore you in public. So these 3 things Gerard just said. If you ignore your ignorance in private, your ignorance will not ignore you in public. Chimaraph, could you just add your voice as an endorsement to our Purple Discovery Academy 3 days boot camp? What you've known me for a long time. Why do you think people should invest their time and their resources to attend this 3 days virtual program? Could you just add your voice to that, please?
All right, people. My name is Chimaraph. I'm a stand-up comedian. I tell jokes for a living, but the few words I'm about to say is not a joke. I've known Noah, aka Mr. Purpose, for about 14 years right now. And one thing that I've seen him do so well that I get to tell anybody that cares to listen is teaching people how to discover their purpose. He knows how to do it well, no caps. He does it very well, exceptionally well. I've not met any other person that teaches purpose, discovering purpose at a very early stage like he does. He brings it very practical, down to earth, and he shares everything without holding anything back. And I've also seen people that have gone through his academy, how they've been able to discover their talents and how they are doing well in different industries. So if you're a young person and you want to discover your talents and move on with your dreams, I tell you, go for Purpose Discovery Academy. It's a 3-day life transforming virtual camp, and I trust that it will bless your life. I tell you that it will bless your life. It's something to register for. My name is Chimaraph. Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you so much. And that was not a joke. If you see this video later on, that was not a joke. That is some truths that he has dropped for you. Once you invest what's in your wallet, in your brain, you have not lost that money. That's a lifetime investment. You'll be reaping from it for the rest of your life. Thank you, Chimaraph, for investing 60 minutes of your life with us this evening. We can see that you are also in a studio. You are still working.
Yeah.
This is a workaholic. You know, he's not an alcoholic. He's a workaholic. And that is better to be a workaholic than to be an alcoholic. So please, let's release you so that you can go back to finishing your production. And we hope to see you at the very heights. I'm looking forward to the day we will have Believe Your Dreams conference somewhere outside Nigeria, maybe South Africa, maybe Las Vegas, and would invite you to come and crack jokes there, and we'll talk about where we started from, how it used to be like a dream at that time, but God has helped us thus far. So as you go, sorry, my voice just a bit had a crack. So thank you so much for being with us on Head to Head tonight. We will be back again next week with another exciting guest who is purpose-driven, who has gained mastery over their talent or the discovery they had much earlier than now, and who are thriving in their industry. God bless you, Chimaraph. Wherever you're watching from, make sure that you find why you were born, then develop yourself in that discovery, then begin to distribute the value to everyone that you meet through a systemized way, either through a service or a business. But if you don't know how to do that, then register for Talent to Business 3 days virtual bootcamp. The early bird discount rounds up on the 10th of May. Exceed as you proceed, everybody, and then God bless you. Thank you, Chimaraph.
Thank you so much.